Krishna Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Hari Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Gaura. Jai Harinama Sankirtana ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Koti Vaishnavanda ki. Move this back a little bit. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
You can show Prabhupada invocation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Galati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Vipa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all of you. Welcome to for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shreya, welcome back. We missed you. Did you miss us? Yes? We missed you. It's great to have you back. So, we're discussing this 4th chapter, 8th verse today. This chapter is entitled Transcendental Knowledge. So what does transcendental knowledge mean?
Eternal knowledge above material platform.
Okay, eternal knowledge above material platform.
Passing through knowledge.
Passing through knowledge, or transcending through. What topics does transcendental knowledge cover? 3 main topics.
Our relationship.
Relationship with
Krishna. Our duty to be performed.
Yeah, that's kind of within our relationship as our duty.
Approaching Guru to attain the transcendental knowledge.
Okay, so the means to acquire this knowledge is through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And Krishna will tell us we should approach Guru to learn this knowledge. So this knowledge covers my relationship with Krishna. But before I have a relationship with Krishna, what else do I need to know?
Who am I?
Who am I? I need to know who am I. And I need to know
Who is Krishna?
who is Krishna.
Yes.
Then I can understand the relationship. Right? So I should understand who am I first, and then what is my position related to Krishna? Why relationship with Krishna? Very basic question, right? So in this transcendental knowledge, Krishna has been giving us knowledge that is beyond the material modes. What that means is eternal knowledge. So knowledge in the material realm, physics, science, engineering, philosophy, law, this, humanities, all that knowledge is interesting and helpful to some degree, but it only relates to my body. How I can try to enjoy this body a little better. But beyond the body lies the soul. We know the body is temporary. Okay? Just like I may have a lot of knowledge about the car I'm driving. And I may spend so much energy acquiring all this knowledge about the car and how it works and how... But after I lose that car, what is the value of that knowledge? After the car is now in the ditch because it's broken, what is the value of that knowledge? It's gone. Now I have to get a new car. And I have to learn all about this car. I have to start all over again. In some way, that's like material knowledge. I acquire all this knowledge about the world and mass and all this thing. But at the end of this life, do I take any of that knowledge with me? In my next life, I have to learn 2 + 2 all over again. So that is the nature of material knowledge. But transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge, is eternal. If I learn in this life that I am spirit soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna, and thus I have a beautiful, loving relationship with Krishna, whatever knowledge I add to that, I take with me. So at the end of this life, if I have acquired 1% knowledge, in my next life I start from 1% and carry forward. I don't go back to 0. So that is the great benefit of acquiring transcendental knowledge. It is eternal. But even more beneficial than that is this transcendental knowledge is what gives us what we are searching for.
Happiness.
We are searching for happiness. If I know what the lottery ticket numbers will be tomorrow, that's knowledge. And I think that might give me some happiness. I can win the lottery. But how much happiness that knowledge will give me? It's very limited. Whatever time it takes me to consume that wealth, or whatever time it takes me to realize now people are liking me because of my wealth, or whatever time it takes me to realize that now I have to spend all my energy protecting this wealth, and I have so much stress and anxiety and fear over these things. But the purpose of any knowledge is to bring some betterment of our position, our situation. So transcendental knowledge gives us insight into how to eternally benefit our situation, how to give us eternal peace and happiness. And that is why transcendental knowledge is so valuable. It's not only eternal in its duration, but it gives us something eternal, peace and happiness, that no other knowledge gives. So Krishna has been explaining this knowledge of what it is. And he's already said that we are spirit soul. That this soul is passing in body to body. Even in this lifetime, it's already passed in bodies. Like from boyhood to youth to old age. But we don't see it. Right? We don't see the changing in the body, but it's changed. I saw recently Srila Prabhupada give a very brilliant analogy of this changing of bodies, and even in this lifetime, though we don't see it. It's so brilliant. He gave the analogy of a movie reel. In a movie reel, you have a series of images, right? And each image is distinct. But when the images are playing, you see one seamless image, movie. But they are made up of individual, distinct images that are put together in a rapid way. He said, like that, our body is constantly changing. It's happening right before our eyes, but we don't perceive it as individual bodies. But that was a really nice example he gave. So Krishna said, this is the soul. The soul is moving from body to body. But now we have to know that if that's I am soul, who is Krishna? Right? What is the difference between me and Krishna? And so in the prior verses, starting in verses 5, 6, and some of 7, he says that when he appears differently than us. Krishna gets to choose when he appears. None of us got to choose our birthday. Krishna chooses where he appears. None of us got to choose where we were born. Krishna gets to choose when he leaves. None of us get to choose when we leave. Krishna chooses how his body will change. Our body is forced to change by the influence of time. So like that, there are very distinct differences. And the differences are due to Krishna is the supreme controller. He is Ishvara Parama. He is the Parama, the ultimate controller. That is Krishna. And everything from there is a sub-controller. He is the source of everything. Anadir Adir Govinda. So because of that, then we begin to awaken our relationship with this supreme controller, the supreme source. And that relationship is full of love. It is full of love and bliss. Often when we think of our relationship with the controller, like our relationship with the boss, it is not full of love. It can be full of fear, maybe, other anger, other relationships. But the relationship with the perfect Supreme Lord is one of love. So that's what he explained. So now Krishna explains in the 7th and 8th verse why he comes. For what purpose he comes to this material world. Because this is very important. Because if we know the nature of Krishna's appearance and activities, he's going to tell us in the next verse, Janma karma cha me divyam. If you know my janma and karma, what happens? You can achieve eternal peace and happiness. That is the benefit of knowing that. So now we have to understand first then why he comes. Why Krishna comes. Right? So let's read the 8th verse and see why Krishna comes. Someone wants to read? Most everyone knows this verse.
paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya duskrtam dharma-samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well to reestablish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium.
Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu, holy man, is a man in Krishna consciousness. A person may appear to be irreligious, but if he has the qualifications of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. And duskrtam applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness. Such miscreants or duskrtam are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind, even though they may be decorated with mundane education, whereas a person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness is accepted as a sadhu, even though such a person may be neither learned nor well cultured. As far as the atheistic are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them, as he did with the demons Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons, but the Lord especially descends to appease his unalloyed devotees, who are always harassed by the demonic. The demon harasses the devotee, even though the latter may happen to be his kin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless persecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was the sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki, rather than kill Kamsa. But both were performed simultaneously. Therefore, it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations.
Shall I continue? Yeah. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadasa Kaviraja, the following verses, Madhya 2263-264, summarizes these principles of incarnation. Shristi hetu ye murti prapanse avatare, se Ishvara murti avatara namadare, mayatita paro yome sabara avasthana, vishve avatari tare avatara nama. The avatara or incarnation of Godhead descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of personality of Godhead who so descends is called an incarnation or avatara. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world, the kingdom of God. When they descend to the material creation, they assume the name avatara. There are various kinds of avatars such as Purusha avatars, Guna avatars, Leela avatars, Shakti Avesha avatars, Manvantara avatars, and Yuga avatars, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all the avatars. Lord Sri Krishna descends for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees, who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavana pastimes. Therefore, the prime purpose of Krishna Avatara is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. The Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, the incarnation in the age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by Sankirtana movement, congregational chanting of the holy names, and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtana would be broadcast all over the world, from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya, as the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is described secretly but not directly in the confidential parts of revealed scriptures, such as the Upanishads, Mahabharata, and Bhagavatam. The devotees of the Lord Krishna are very much attracted by Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants but delivers them by his causeless mercy.
So, in the prior verse, Krishna said, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So, who is the source of all religion?
Krishna.
And why is Krishna the source of all the religion? Why we cannot be the source, or some other great personality?
He is the source of everything.
He is the source of everything, okay?
Source of creation, so he has. But whoever created, they know how to bring in the rules and regulations.
Okay, so he is the creator. Thus, he can put the rules and regulations. Yeah, Prabhu, you know.
He's authority. He's a complete. Six opulence things are.
Okay, so he is Bhagavan,
Bhagavan.
the possessor of the six opulences. Any other reasons why he is the source of all religion? Let me say it differently. Can there be any other source of religion? Now that's an exclusive statement, right?
Only one son. We don't know.
There's only one source of light, right? This is the sun. There are not multiple suns.
Krishna.
So Krishna is the source of all religion. And because he is the source of everything, he is the creator of this material world. So if he is the creator of the material world, then he also knows how to operate it. You know, our Shastra is like a user manual. When you buy any piece of equipment, you buy a new washing machine, it comes with a manual, how to use it. But who writes the manual is the manufacturer, because they created the machine. So they know what not to do, what to do, how to optimize its function, like that. So when Krishna creates this world, he also equips it with a user manual, which ultimately tells us how to get out of this world. It is not such a pleasant place. And that manual is Shastra. But that Shastra must come from Krishna. Right? So we have already said that in earlier verse. Evam parampara praptim. So all this knowledge must come from Krishna, but it comes from Krishna through different disciplic successions. There are great acharyas and Vaishnavas who are authorized to propagate this knowledge, to spread this knowledge. But anyone spreading this knowledge does not claim themselves to be the author of that knowledge. Because the sole author of all religion is Krishna. So any great personality who comes and who is empowered to spread this knowledge is passing on the message. Just like if you write a letter and you send it to India, there'll be many people who will carry that letter from point A to point B to point C to point D, and so on. Ultimately, it will reach India. Okay? So the person receiving that letter knows that all the people touching the letter were just passing it along, carrying it along. The source of the letter was you, the writer. Like that, the spiritual acharyas, the gurus, they are like the postmen. The source of the letter is Krishna. And he is delivering it to us far away through the agent of Guru Parampara. But the Gurus are not writing the letter. They're like postmen. They're delivering the message of Krishna. So that's why Krishna says, I myself appear millennium after millennium to reestablish the principles of religion. So he is the source of religion. We should understand that very clearly. So any practice of spirituality we follow, we must trace it back to, ultimately, did it come from Krishna? Because he is the ultimate source. Now he gives many varieties of religion. He gives many different sub-steps and steps and different things you can follow. Because we have many varieties of desires. We have many varieties of inclinations. But ultimately, he's going to tell us, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja. Abandon all of them and just surrender unto me. So, then, in the 9th verse, if Krishna wants us to surrender unto him, right? Because that is the benefit for us. By surrendering to Krishna, we achieve perfection of life. Whether we surrender to Krishna or not, Krishna is Atmarama, self-satisfied. So our surrender to him is not for his benefit. It is for our benefit. So then why does he appear? He gives these 3 reasons. What are the 3 reasons he gives in the verse? Krishna speaking, what does he say?
To deliver the devotees.
Okay, so 1, paritranaya, sadhunam. To deliver
The pious.
the sadhus.
And to
Second?
and
One more.
To annihilate.
Someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the second reason again?
Reestablish the principle of religion.
Dharma-samsthapanarthaya. Dharma. To reestablish dharma. Okay, that's the second reason. And the third reason? Duskrtams. Who are the duskrtams? All the miscreants, right? Those who are not abiding by the laws of God. Duskrtam doesn't mean I don't like this person, they're duskrtam. That is not duskrtam. Then we are duskrtam. Duskrtam means whether they're following the laws of Krishna or not. Those who are following the laws of Krishna are sadhus. And those who are not, anything in between? Krishna says later in the Bhagavad Gita, there are divine and demoniac. That's it. And the criteria is not the length of our teeth or the color of our eyes. The criteria is whether we follow Shastra or not. If you follow Shastra, you're divine. If you don't, you're asura. Now that's a little, but that's black and white. So Krishna is saying to deliver the sadhus and to annihilate the miscreants. Now Prabhupada says, no, but there's a real or primary reason he comes. So what is that reason?
Enjoy with devotees.
He wants to enjoy with devotees. But what desire is he fulfilling by coming? His desire?
No. The devotees are anxiously waiting for him.
The devotees are anxiously waiting for him. So Prabhupada says that
The prime purpose.
read that sentence, Prabhu?
The prime purpose of Krishna Avatara is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees. There's another statement. Lord Krishna descends for the specific purpose of mitigating the anxieties of pure devotees who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavana pastimes.
So Krishna comes to see his pure devotees. That is the primary reason he comes. Why does he not have to come to destroy the miscreants?
Can you repeat that?
Why doesn't he come to destroy the miscreants?
He can do it in that itself.
His,
He can do it what?
That itself. Okay.
Yeah.
Or he can send us anybody who can do it.
Agent.
Agents.
He is lying on an antashesh. And from the pores of his skin, gigantic universes are coming. And within that one universe, there are millions of planets. And within the millions of planets, each planet, there are billions and trillions and unlimited number of living entities. So one has got some power, some great force. Does Krishna really need to come to fight that demon? Remember, that giant demon is just how he compares to the size of the planet. It's tiny. Within the planets, there are millions of planets within the universe. And that universe equates to the size of something that can come from the pore of his skin. How big is the pore of your skin? So just, it's gone, whole. So some giant demon he has to come and personally fight? Just by his will. By his will we are living. By his provision. So he doesn't have to personally come to annihilate the demons. Similarly, dharma-samsthapanarthaya. Does he have to personally come for religion?
No.
That's a trick question. So I shouldn't have done that, but I did anyways. So Krishna can send many different avatars to teach many things, right? He sent Lord Buddha to teach a particular form of religion, Voidism. He sends different personalities to come to teach different things. But Krishna has to come to teach one thing. And what is that?
Love.
Love, yeah. But one thing only Krishna can come and bestow. Think back
How to serve.
how to serve. Yeah, but what type of bhakti?
Madhurya Leela?
Not just Madhurya Lila, but pure devotional service. Pure bhakti. Only Krishna can bestow. Advaita Acharya is expansion of Mahavishnu. But he said, Krishna, you must come yourself to establish pure bhakti. So pure devotional service is ananya bhakti. Krishna comes to establish. So, to satisfy the desires of his pure devotees and to establish pure devotional service. Those are the internal reasons he comes. A third reason is also there, that he comes to personally deliver certain demons. We know that Jai and Vijay, great devotees of Lord Vishnu and Vaikuntha, took the position of demons. And Krishna came personally to deliver those. So certain demons he comes to person, but he doesn't need to come. Understand the difference? Don't think that the forces of evil can overtake if Krishna doesn't come. By his will, everything is happening. Not even a blade of grass can move in the wind without the sanction of the Lord. So, He comes specifically to enjoy with his devotees, because his pure devotees are desiring to enjoy his specific Vrindavan pastimes. So the question may be, aren't they already enjoying with Krishna and Goloka Vrindavan? So, what desires, what pastimes they are trying to enjoy, that they want to enjoy so much that they are pain in separation in Vrindavan, in the material world? Anybody ever wondered that? In Goloka Vrindavan, they don't get to celebrate Janmashtami, because Krishna is there. But in the Bhumi Leela pastimes of Vrindavan, they get to celebrate the appearance day of Krishna. They celebrate Lord Balaram's appearance day. But those pastimes don't exist. So to experience those pastimes. In the spiritual world, there is no Denakasura, Putana, Bakasura. There are no asuras. But those pastimes are also sweet for the devotees. Because when Krishna is destroying the demons, it intensifies the devotee's love and surrender to Krishna. That feeling of fear and uncertainty creates a certain rasa. But that doesn't exist in this Goloka. So these specific pastimes are very, very sweet to the devotees. They have a desire to enjoy them. So Krishna comes and performs these pastimes. So what is the benefit for all of us of these pastimes? How do we benefit from them? Can we benefit from them?
In one of his somewhere he has said, just by knowing my birth and my pastimes alone can deliver you.
So very next verse, the coming verse, not exactly next verse. Yeah. So, it is very next verse. The pastimes of Vrindavan, when Krishna displays them, we get to see them, study them, understand them. And if we are successful in understanding them through the eyes of Guru and Sadhu, what happens?
We will reach spiritual world.
We'll reach spiritual world. But what specifically about this? Spiritual world is broad.
You get a real happiness.
His abode, Krishna's abode.
That these pastimes, when we see, they inspire us. He's coming to satisfy the desires of his pure devotees. When we see how Krishna interacts with his pure devotees, it may inspire us to try to become a pure devotee. Because we see the sweet, loving exchanges between Krishna and his devotees. We see how Krishna is enjoying with the cowherd boys, how he's enjoying with Mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba, how he's enjoying with the gopis, how he's enjoying with all the residents of Vrindavan. If Krishna did not perform these pastimes here, we may have some doubt. At least now we can see Govardhan, we can see Radhakund, Shamkund, we can see the pastime places, and we can develop some sense of connection. So the benefit for us of studying this is that we may become inspired to also achieve this pure devotional service. And that is what Krishna comes to establish, pure bhakti. And what is pure bhakti? What is pure devotional service?
without expecting anything, only satisfy Krishna pleasure.
Without expecting anything in return. Loving Krishna with no expectation of anything in return. That is pure. If I love Krishna because he may give me something, then it's motivated. Do we have pure love in the office? Oh, we go to work because we know we'll get something back, a paycheck. There's a business relationship. Often in our spiritual life, we approach Krishna with the same mood. Krishna, I'm offering you my pranams. I'm offering you this ghee lamp. I'm offering you my prayers. How great you are. You're amazing. Here's $5. Now let me give you my list of all the things I need from you. Okay? So Krishna says, one who comes to me with this list is still very pious. He doesn't consider them, oh, they're just using me. It's very sweet. He says, no, they're very pious. Because at least they're coming to me. So he's grateful. But ultimately, Krishna is most pleased when we go to him with no desires. And just hoping to please Krishna. And the more we try to please Krishna and forego our own enjoyment, the more we actually enjoy. Because Krishna is so happy, he reciprocates with us his love. So the more we try to enjoy ourselves, the less we enjoy. The more we try to please Krishna, the more we enjoy. It is completely counterintuitive. And that is the nature of the material world. Everything we see around us is exactly opposite. It is like looking at everything through a mirror. If you look at everything through a mirror, everything is flipped. You read some sign, it's flipped. This material world is a reflection, it's a mirror of reality. So like that, Krishna is allowing us to no longer see the reflection by transcendental knowledge, see reality. And so he comes to establish this reality in our hearts and to inspire us to take to the process of devotional service. So that is the real reason he comes. To establish pure bhakti and to satisfy the desires of his pure devotees. That is why he comes. And if we study these pastimes, we may be also inspired to come to the process of pure devotional service. And due to our great fortune, Krishna came himself again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show us step by step in the mood of a devotee that by chanting the holy names of the Lord, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, one can obtain this greatest, most wonderful position of pure bhakti. Simple process. Just chant. Nothing else. Just chant. Yet, one can obtain the personal association of the Supreme Lord. And so that's why he comes. He's so loving. So sweet. To be with all of us. To inspire us who are miscreants to become sadhus. That is why he comes. All the other reasons, he's just being kind and saying, technically he doesn't need to come for that. So just a little bit of technical discussion now. In the second to last paragraph, Prabhupada talks about the various kinds of avatars. So this is a source of great confusion. So we'll just spend a few minutes on this. So Lord Krishna is the source of all avatars. As Prabhuji said, he is avatari. He is not avatar. We think Dasa avatars, and Krishna is one of the Dasa avatars. But Krishna is the source of all avatars. That's why Lord Brahma says, Anadir Adir Govinda. He is the source of all. One who has no source. That is Govinda, Krishna. And there is huge amounts of confusion. So much so that Krishna says later in this Bhagavad Gita that fools are going to deride me, thinking that I am just some ordinary human. And that's what's happening. Some will criticize Krishna. Oh, you created this war. What kind of God you are. Like this. Foolish people talk. So we should understand that Krishna is the source of all. And there are many different types of avatars. There are unlimited number of avatars. And there are many different categories of avatars. So Prabhupada talks about Purusha avatars. Those are the different forms of Vishnu. Karandakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu. Those are the Purusha avatars. Then we have the Guna avatars. The avatars for each of the modes of nature. That is the Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is an expansion from Krishna. We have the Leela avatars. All the different pastimes. Matsya, Kurma, Vahamana. These are all Leela avatars. These are different pastimes in which Krishna comes. So, these avatars, they are considered what we said, plenary avatars, meaning they are fully powerful, potent, but they show a limited portion of it, right? When Matsya avatar comes, it shows a certain feature, not showing the full, but it is fully potent. We should not distinguish and think it's only Matsya avatar. That is foolish. And the example given in Brahma Samhita is that you have a candle and you have 10 other candles. When you light the candles, they all burn with the same force. But still there was one source that lit all the other candles. Understand? They're all the same force, but still there's one that was the source of all. That is Krishna and his avatars. They are all expansions, fully potent. Krishna, Prabhupada used the word plenary portions. But Krishna is the source. So this we should not confuse. All the different avatars, but Krishna is the source. There are a couple other avatars discussed here. Shaktavesha avatars. These are empowered personalities directly by Krishna to perform some activity. These are Shaktavesha avatars. There are many described in Srimad Bhagavatam as Shaktavesha avatars. But these are empowered by Krishna, but of the Jiva Tattva category. But they're directly empowered by Krishna. Then there is Manvantar avatars. So all the different Manus. And Yuga avatars. Every Yuga, there is an appearance of the Lord. Like this. So my only main point I want to make, many avatars, but we should understand who is the source and origin of them all. That is Krishna. So I'll stop there. Any comments, discussion, questions? Yeah.
I like that part when you say that one candle, 10 candles. It was very nice. I mean, he said there are different avatars, and he gives them each one like same potent power they have. That was nice.
Yeah. It is coming from Brahma Samhita.
Yes.
That example.
Okay.
Yeah. That is Lord Brahma's presentation.
Okay.
Lord Shiva comes in any avatar, Lord Shiva.
Guna.
Guna avatar.
So Lord Shiva is an expansion from Krishna. So he is Shambhu Tattva.
Prabhuji, you talked about how devotees are still, they wanted to have Vrindavan pastimes over Goloka, Vrindavan itself, right? Do they not have a Govardhan hill in there?
Govardhan is there. Govardhan is there. Radha Kund is there. Radharani says to Krishna, I'm not coming unless I don't want to be separated from Govardhan. So Govardhan also manifests here. So it is there. But certain pastimes are not there. And that's why, but they are still called Nitya Leelas because they are constantly going. In every universe, somewhere, Krishna is appearing, right? Because Krishna appears in a scheduled time. He appears in the 7th Manu, 28th Yuga cycle, in Dwapara Yuga. So,
On that, I have another question also. This is from the exam. We had that seven different places, right? Like the holiest place, like which starts from
Vaikuntha.
Vaikuntha, and then like it goes all the way up to Radhakund, right? So when they're talking about the Radhakund, are they talking about the Radhakund in the material world?
Material world.
So if that's the case, the material world Radhakund is have more potency than.
We shouldn't say more potency. That our mind wants to go to that point, but we can understand it's the most potent place for us. But you cannot say it's more potent than the Radhakund in Goloka Vrindavan. But Radhakund is not present in Vaikuntha. Right? Goloka Vrindavan is within the spiritual world. There are different realms. And that is a central point.
Krishna comes again to, like, after this Krishna Janmastami, like avatar in this universe. Also Krishna comes to reveals to devotees, right? Before that also and after, many devotees, Prabhupada has seen, Krishna has come to move the ship. And Krishna is eternally coming in this verse, like paritranaya. Eternally, it is not one. Is it one time, like this Murta, or Krishna is exhibiting the Leela with the devotees, or in fact, how is that?
Yeah, so he comes in his manifest form on this scheduled time.
Okay.
But he appears, he's appearing every time you chant his names. Every time you chant Krishna, he's appearing with us each individually. Right? He's appearing in everyone's heart as Paramatma. How far we have to go to find Krishna? Sitting right here. So, in our Manasi Seva, in our mind, we can meditate and be in direct audience with Krishna. So Krishna can come, as they said, in rowing the boat of the Jaladuta. But it is not a manifest form that everyone can see. So, but yeah, because Krishna is present everywhere. So then what is the aspect of him appearing? You can say in one absolute sense, right? He is present everywhere. But he becomes present in his manifest Sachidananda Vigraha at these times. Think it's okay?
Yeah.
So don't worry, he'll appear to you also. Don't think, oh, he's already come. No, it's just by chanting, he is appearing on our tongue. We are not seeing it, but he is there. He has come in the Vigraha. He is Radha Kunj Vihari is standing right there.
we have the quadruple expansion. What is the significance of quadruple expansion? And we have never heard about the pastime of Pradyumna, Vasudeva, and other.
So the quadruple expansions, there are two sets of quadruple expansions actually. There's a primary and then secondary. And from the secondary quadruple expansion comes all these other avatars and things like that. But they each have a specific purpose that is quite technical. How they expand and perform various functions of the creation, of the maintenance, of the different personalities, like that. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a quite detailed and technical discussion of the expansions from Krishna to Balaram, to the different, to the first quadruple expansions, and then the second quadruple expansions, like that. So they all have a specific purpose and function. Like, Sankarsana, expands into Ananta Shesh. From there, that's where Lord Shiva comes from specifically, like that. So there's, different lines and for the different activities. That is.
So, where Mahavishnu comes from?
Hmm?
Where Mahavishnu comes from?
He comes through this line of expansion, through the
Anything-
quadruple
anything
expansion.
specific about Pradyumna and Vasudeva?
Through I would have to come back to you. I have a good but I'm not 100% in where it's explained how the whole Mahatattva comes and everything. But I have to just review real quick to answer definitively.
The millennium here doesn't mean our regular millennium, right? Like it's
Yugas.
yugas.
So he comes in every yuga, right? At least once he is appearing.
But we call millennium every.
That's
not
yeah.
correct.
This millennium is referring to yuga. Every yuga, sambhavami, yuge, like that. Right, so. Anything else? Thank you. So we'll chant the holy names of the Lord now. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nata Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai.
Oh, I think a question from
Vali Mataji. Oh. Yeah.
When Prabhupada mentioned Lord has many capability ages, does it mean they could protect the devotees to certain extent only?
Hmm?
Can I? And Prabhupada mentions Lord has many capable agents. Does it mean they could protect the devotees to certain extent only, and beyond which Lord has to descend at the end to please his devotees?
Remember, Krishna can protect from afar or very near.
Mm-hmm.
From afar, not even a blade of grass is moving in the wind. So then what to say of any danger to a devotee? He doesn't personally have to come. But the devotees desire to enjoy with him those certain pastimes, and Krishna is always anxious to fulfill the desire of his devotees. See, when Krishna says surrender everything to him, remember, Krishna is anxious to surrender everything he has to his devotees. And so when his devotees desire, okay, he is there. So the pure devotees actually conquer Krishna. And that is beyond our scope of understanding, at least today. But we can understand that Krishna is coming to answer the desire of the devotees, but not because he has to. Because if we say he has to, it means he's limited. Right? It means he's not all powerful. Oh, he has to come and personally fix some situation. No, he doesn't have to. But he personally comes to certain situations to reciprocate with the love of his devotees. So that's why he comes. Otherwise, he is fully capable of doing everything just by his will, including protecting the devotees. Okay?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.